Subcommittee meeting to order at 6:07 p.m. Roll call.
Trustee Silver,
Here.
Trustee Audit,
Present.
Trustee Kwong.
Present. Is there any public comment on non-agenda items? There is not. Approval of the minutes from June 3rd. Do I hear a motion?
June third?
Motion to approve the June 3rd minutes.
I'll second.
Seconded by Trustee Aragon. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Information and possible action. We have the annual 3/11 financial report.
Thank you, Trustee Silver. So I'll be walking everyone through this big report, so it should be the first in your handout. So the 3/11 report is our annual financial report that contains all of our funds in here. So every quarter, the trustee has received our quarterly report, which is in a much condensed version. It's about a 2-pager, and it only has general fund. But annually, we're required by the Chancellor's Office to produce this large report that encompasses everything. So I'll be walking everyone through selected pages that I think will show us our compliance requirements. So the first couple of pages is for our 50% law. So as required by EDCO, for every community colleges, we are required to spend at least 50% of our general fund expenses in instructional activities. So on page 4 of the report, in the middle column here, it shows that we're at 50.96, so we exceeded the 50% requirement.
Barely. Wonderful.
I want to just ask a question from a complete understanding. When it comes to that, can you just give me a general idea of what, for example, when there's a student trip that takes place, right? And there's money that has to be used for that, that can fall within that category, right? Even though it's not paying instructor or traditional classroom?
It depends. Is it for student field trip? So if it's a component of the class, then yes, absolutely.
Component of it.
Of the component. So we also have clubs or also trips that are outside of the class that happen to, also for instructional purposes, but it may not be a component of the class. And
Okay.
those would not count.
So for example, again, going back to the point that when they go to trips to the universities, which they get a lot of information, but that's part of the project they're going to.
So it would
But
be,
would that count within that?
that wouldn't count towards the 50% law because Puente has Puente grant. So
Okay.
it would be, the expenses will be coming out of there. So it's not
Okay.
ours.
Okay, great. So we don't have to worry about that. I just want to be clear, like what wouldn't count, but I can also talk to you offline a little bit more. Okay.
Yeah, happy to do so.
So are you actively monitoring the 50% of
Yes, we are.
when you go through monthly expenses?
Yeah, so we do projections on a quarterly basis to make sure that we are still aligned to at least exceed the 50% law. And then that drives a lot of our hiring decisions as well, whether we are filling instructional positions or filling classical positions. Okay, and starting from page 5, so page 22 is the balance sheet for all of our funds. So we have an array of different funds, from general fund to bond funds to student financial aid. So those are everything about the balance sheet for those funds.
Remind me that this fiscal year period that we're referring to.
This will be for 24-25, so this
July 1st
yeah,
Up
July
to July
1st,
through, I'm sorry.
July 1st,
June-
24.
Yeah,
So
to June
June
30th.
30th to July 1st, 2025.
Correct.
So there's no more projections, it's closed.
It's
So these are actual numbers.
Yeah, these are actual numbers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're in.
Yeah, we're already in fiscal year 26.
Or we have to do projections and guess ratings.
And
We can project pretty well. We look at historical as well.
I'm glad you asked that, because then it puts this in sort of reference as to what I'm looking, we're really looking at what happened last academic
Yes,
fiscal
this
year
is
ending.
the year that we
The third
just
one.
closed.
Yeah. Okay, good, thank you.
You're welcome. So starting from page 23 to page 31, and this is the income statement for the general fund. So this shows our revenues and expenses.
Would you mind if I ask Audrey to go to page 23 on the board? Because I can read
I
it.
think it's
Yeah.
page 23 here.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it?
Is it?
Yeah, yeah,
Sure
sure.
is. Yeah, let me see if I can make it a little larger
So
for
that's
you.
what you're supposed to have.
Hold on.
Mine, you wait a moment.
Just look at that. Stick it all in, stick it all in.
This is perfect.
Oh, I think it'd be in your way.
Oh, wait, hold on, just to
Yeah,
I'm gonna
the
turn it
right a
around.
little bit.
we designed the room well.
Okay, and then the next report, which is quite significant because this will be part of the action item that you'll be seeing next Wednesday.
Are you
Which
still
is
on
on
page 23?
Yeah.
Page 32.
What are EPA proceeds?
I was at the
EPA is Education Protection Act, that's by Prop 30. And those are money that were given by Prop 30 to, supplementals, and we're required to spend everything on educational activity as well.
Okay.
So page 32 is our GAM limit, so this is our statutory appropriation limit. The calculation tells us how much we should be spending for the next fiscal year, which is the fiscal year we're in right now. So for 25-26, our appropriation limit, which is our upper limit that we should not exceed, is 200,108,427.
In what categories though?
This is all taxpayer funded, so our apportionment of property tax, those sources, that's what drives our.
Oh, I was gonna ask you, what are you allowed to spend it on? Is it categorical funding or is this general?
This is general fund.
Everything.
Nice.
Can you scroll down?
Yes.
Until the bottom of this page.
There.
Right there, okay, so the last number there is our 190,166,289. So for our 25-26 adopted budget, we are proposing that our appropriation is at 190,166,000, which is below the 200 million upper limitation.
Why? Why be one of the thousands?
And we just were
Budget factor?
not the fight factor. We're very honest people. No, it's just this is just, after appropriating everything, we want to stay below the 200.
Oh, I
The
see.
problem
Yeah.
is going over it.
Yeah, you get fined.
That's right, that's what I'm saying,
So-
is that why you did that, is to have cushion?
Yeah, it's a cushion that we don't
That's
go.
right, not that, that's what I meant by fudge factor.
Okay.
What is the
And-
price factor?
The price factor is our, they call it the price, index price, it's the CPI, which is, the increase in price in our neighborhood. So compared to this year and last year, what the inflation is, that's what drives the CPI.
So about 6%, 6.4%.
It is about 7%, so it's 1.077. How do you move up a little bit?
That's the population change factor?
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, the price factor is so there's two factors. So the CPI is the upper factor, 1.06, that's a national factor. And then apply our regional factor, that gives us a little bit higher number, the 1.07.
But what is it says population change factor, which is the change of the FTES, that's the 1.07, so.
And that just give us a little bit more because we have, this is change within our own population. And so it applies the CPI first to our last year's GAM limit, and then also apply again for our population change to get to where we are for this year.
So our FTES,
Yes.
that, okay. And that so the 1.06 is just of interest, but it isn't used for anything.
No, this is what the state give us, that they receive from, really, the federal government calculates that, the Department of Finance calculates that number. It's a magical number they calculate in consideration of the market, also in consideration of
But-
the price.
Okay, but it doesn't affect us at all. It's the increase or, of the students, which is C three. We had a 7% increase, 7.77?
Yeah, actually, both factors helps us in certain way, because each factor raises what our GAN limit is from the previous year. Because everything is increasing, all of our prices for our services,
Right.
for our employees are raising in cost. So we need these factors to be able to adjust what our upper limit, so we don't exceed our GAN.
And what is that? So you're saying 1.06 is interesting, but 1.07,
Gives us more flexibility. Yeah, it raises it. Because again, what you want, you have the proposition GAN limit that was established in 1979 that said you can only spend up to so much of taxpayer dollars. And that's what we need to make sure we stay under that limit, we don't exceed it.
and what is that multiplied? But the 1.077 is multiplied against what?
Multiplied against the 174,446, that first number.
And
The
that
appropriation
number,
limit.
okay,
Yes.
and how is that number derived?
Isn't that the previous year's number?
Yeah, so the one is
In 1979, we started building it,
Okay,
and it goes up, and then every year you want to raise it, because you're actually spending more, cost of things, and tell you how much more you can actually, without exceeding it. Nobody wants to exceed it. This is for all states, so even as a city, you have a GAN limit as well, that you have to stay within. So every public agency is doing this.
okay.
Yes.
So the state should appropriate 1.74 million, but wait, we increased our FTES, so we, instead of 1.174 million, we're at 200 million.
So, 174 is what our GAN limit was last year.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and then this last year's number is being adjusted up by the price factor, 1.0644, and then adjusted up again by the population change factor of 1.077 to arrive at the new higher ceiling of 200 million.
Okay, all right. And is this still part of hold harmless? Like, what if,
Oh, this is separate from full harm.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
It's not.
So this is just a statutory calculation, every governmental agency.
And everybody follows the same exact methodology here.
And
Not
then
impressed
what
that you know it all.
discounted it back down by 10%?
Yes, that's what I.
What was your question?
What
What?
discounted the 200 million down by actually?
No, that's our actual.
Down to one.
So you look at the 190,
Yes.
that's our actual, correct?
Yeah, this is what, based on what our adopted budget is,
Mhm.
what our planned appropriation, what our planned spending.
Okay.
And so we're under our GAN limit, we're under the max
So
by
that's-
190.
So
The
it's like,
magical number is 200
Yes.
million,
And go over
which
that.
is a formula, and then we're gonna,
You have to
we
keep that.
project to be
Oh,
under.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm raising my hand,
Why-
Madam Chair, after you
okay.
finish.
Well, just,
After you finish, Madam.
why aren't we spending what the state would appropriate to us?
This is what the state is appropriating to us, and then we are spending everything, and we're still staying below
Yes.
the appropriation limit. Yeah, because the 200 million, it doesn't mean that this is everything that state is appropriating to us. It's just a calculation based on what our GAN limit is last year, adjusting up based on our population change, based on the price factor change.
Okay.
So we just cannot
Okay.
exceed that number, but it doesn't have a direct relationship of how much the state is getting us.
Because the
Not
state could
revenue.
give us less.
Less, exactly.
Yeah. So if the state give us less, then we stay below
Yes.
that.
James.
And I think my question was just answered, because it's like, I have $200,000 in the bank, but I'm only gonna wanna spend $190,000 in case something happens. Like, that's how I'm seeing it, right? Because I'm just putting it in signatures myself. Because you have, yes, I'm getting it.
Well, it's more like.
The law
You-
says.
you-
The $200 is not even in your bank, but it's, you know, the, mom says you can't spend more than 200.
Mom has all
Mom
the
says,
cash.
state of
and you have
California,
none of it,
okay, get
but
it,
if we give it to you, don't spend more than 200.
correct. And it's better now, it's better to be, okay. It makes fiscal sense because many things can happen, which again, too much in the state of doing this. Okay, I'm good, I'm done.
Okay.
I'm good, because I want you to finish this, and then,
Sure, yeah.
thank you.
And starting from the next page, page 33 to 43, and these are the income statements for all the other funds that we have. So it shows you the revenue and expenses for our bond fund, for our child development funds. So
What
all,
page are you again, 32?
we're on
33.
33 to 43.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to stay here and then up there, so I think I want to stay on the screen.
We're on page 33.
Okay.
Are you on page 33?
Yes.
What,
That's what I'm saying, it's double,
Yes.
can you explain the difference between unrestricted is that, is unrestricted our general budget and restricted sub-funds all the specialty, programs that we get funded for?
So the unrestricted sub-fund is the unrestricted general fund.
Uh-huh.
So that's where our apportionments are at, this is where our property tax, and this is where our international student revenues are at. The restricted sub-fund is where the grant programs are. So we have our
Correct.
federal grants, state capital grant, and also local restricted funds.
and that's why the language is restricted, because they're restricted for
Purpose.
purpose.
Right.
That's
So
all I always understand.
I have a question. So under Fund 11, your actual revenue was 579,568, correct?
Yes.
But before the fiscal year started, we budgeted 698.
So the budget year is for 25-26.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay. So for 25-26, you are anticipating 579,568, correct?
No, the way to read it is the actual is for 24-25 fiscal year, and then the budget is for budget year 25-26.
Oh, why are you putting them side by side?
Just how the state wanted to put it.
Oh, really?
In the format.
Yeah,
All
it's a
the
fixed format.
In other words, it doesn't make sense. The two don't relate.
They don't, yeah, it's
Okay.
more, one is,
I see.
If you look at the top, it says for actual year and then budget year. It's kind of like a legend, but it's at
Right.
the top rather
Yeah.
than at the bottom.
But they don't relate to each other. You don't read them together for any.
You can kind of see where we're showing increases, we're anticipating an increase in like in the federal revenues from the 579, which we actually received, to we're anticipating 698.
You budgeted 698.
Yes.
But where, is there a category for projected revenue to match that 698? Is that somewhere? Or is
That will get
next
to, when you
year?
look at the budgets, and we're gonna get to that too.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
but this is just a state chancellor's office form. It's fixed in this format, you can't
I
change it.
know.
Got it.
I'm gonna just ask one more question, I think, thank you. Regarding unrestricted sub-funding, so I'm understanding restricted now. When you're calling something unrestricted, in my understanding, and that's why I'm here, so I can learn, that if it's unrestricted, you have more flexibility if you want to move something around from, say, or no? Explain to me the beauty of unrestricted sub-funding. I wanna know the beauty of it. Why is all that, it's beautiful about it?
Yeah, so maybe in another way, let me explain what is restricted. So
Okay.
the unrestricted would be the inverse of the restricted. So the restricted are programs that tell us, for example, NSF grant, we apply, we write a proposal, we apply for A, B, C, and D. So, and then we can only spend our funds on A, B, C, and D. For our unrestricted general fund, they are driven by our FTS revenue from our student center funding formula. So those funds are received to support our overall operations. So we can use it for salaries, we can use it for supplies, we can use it governed by upper
Right.
entity, tell us we can only spend it on this, we have ability to say how we want to spend this on.
Yeah, so I'm completely understanding that, but my question was, if y'all wanna move something around, again, so I understand, let's just pick a category, for supplies and materials, you need more, so it allows you to move things around, number one, I mean, funding wise, dollar wise?
So we
Yes.
would, but we don't want it to touch, full-time, normally we don't want to touch full-time salary
Right,
numbers.
Right,
Yeah, but if, somebody wanted to do, they needed a little bit more supplies, they can
Right.
pull from.
That's what's technology, maybe. All of a sudden we need more technology to update.
no, that's
So
what,
is that
that's what,
where it is?
regardless of what it is, I'm trying to understand is that it gives us that, all the
It is
flexibility to do
flexibility
that.
in the unrestricted.
There's more
Does that
flex,
happen? Does that
yeah,
happen?
there's more flexibility, but
We
remember,
need to.
88%
Yes.
of our budget, 88% of our
Right.
budget
So
is
that's
salaries and benefits. So there's really not, even though it may be unrestricted, a lot of that unrestricted money is going into things that we are responsible for. So
Correct.
technically, it's not restricted, but technically it has to be used for those expenses.
Okay, got it, that's it, thank you. Now I know.
Thanks. So the next section I'd like to take us to is page 45. Yes, yes.
How can the ending fund balance of this year and the coming year be exactly the same?
Which page are you on?
33, still on 33, ending fund balance, under the last line, ending fund balance.
Oh, yes.
I don't see exactly.
Unrestricted sub-fund,
What's your numbers?
54,657,991.
Yes, because we'll go over the budget in a little bit because we're projecting a balanced budget. So that's why the ending and the beginning is the same.
Yes. Because one ending is another's beginning.
But it says ending.
That's an alpha and omega.
And they're two different years.
Yes, they are
Yes.
two different
Yes.
fiscal years.
They don't even relate to each other.
But again, I think when we go into, we have a whole slide on that.
Okay.
You say 35, right?
To be
Yeah.
continued. Yes, 45.
45.
Good question.
Good.
Good
Oh,
question.
good catches.
Thank you, trustee, yes.
Yes, it's a good question, but the committee?
So 45 shows us our lottery proceeds. So these are from the lottery that everyone buys. And as education institution, we get a portion of the proceeds.
It's pretty good.
Yes.
When I
What
saw
year
that, I
is
was
that?
like,
That's what you were saying.
Year is that?
Oh.
So this is for
Projection.
so this is for 24-25, the year that just ended.
This one, right?
Yes. So we received almost 3.7 million in unrestricted lottery. So the unrestricted are really supporting our classroom supplies. And so it's basically anything that we need in the classroom, that's what it supports. And we received 2.3 million in restricted lottery, and those are what we pay for. I'm sorry. So the unrestricted lottery is what we pay for utilities.
Yes,
So
yeah.
our
Oh.
electricity.
The restricted
Oh.
I'm sorry, I misspoke earlier. So the restricted lottery is for classroom supplies.
Yes.
And the unrestricted lottery is for utilities.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Which goes up and down.
Depending on the rates, mostly up.
Yeah.
I know.
Mostly up.
Right.
That's water, power, and
Oh.
probably sewer.
It's not all
Water, power, sewer,
utilities.
internet services.
Oh, infrastructure.
Yeah.
Keep going up.
Really do spend three.
We actually spend more than that.
Spending
but
more than
that's-
that, yeah.
But that's all we get from water.
Yes.
Wait, see, that's not making logical sense to me. You're spending more than you get, so where's that coming from?
From the unrestricted general fund.
That goes back to the question I was asking. I'm gonna leave that alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just seeing what it is.
Your Diet Coke is cold.
Do they, by the way, do you know how they apportion the amount? Is it based on, FTS, like different community colleges? Some CCDs get more than others based on income.
So it is based on FTS, and also the state determines the rate based on how many people buys towards one pool.
so like right now, there's a big
Sure.
Yeah.
Powerball, so the more of those, the more people buy.
So it's
the
a
more-
combination of that quantity and FTS.
Do they even look at how many tickets are sold in your area, or is it just a whole statewide population?
I don't believe they go down to that granular level, yeah.
It's a nice, I
Yeah.
mean,
It's a healthy amount.
Yes, it is.
It's a very healthy.
Mhm.
It is, keep buying those tickets.
If you buy those tickets, it's for education.
It seems like they should publicize that.
They did when they
When
were
they
trying to
first
get
started.
voted, but it,
That's
Yeah,
right.
when it
they're
first
trying to
started,
get
they
passed.
They
said
do a lot.
But they should
For
probably.
educate.
Yeah.
It would be nice to hear the things that happen on campuses because of that.
we actually get,
That's the PR department.
we actually get some pretty good, media coverage. There's, when these numbers come out, right,
Mhm.
they actually come to PCC and we actually give them tours, like we,
I think there was an article about that,
there was
or
an article,
it
yeah.
Really?
was a news visit about.
Yeah, I think it was Channel 7 and they went to chemistry and they looked at the equipment that we were getting.
Nice.
It's about a year ago, right?
About a year, maybe a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Oh, they should come now. Let's see.
Some films are archived.
Beautiful.
And then, let's move on to page 47. So to answer trustee Silver's question about EPA earlier, so we received 37 million on EPA proceeds, and then we spent all of them on the instructional teacher salaries. That was
What are EPA?
education, protection act, by proposition.
Oh, it's what
Which is supposed to end, right?
They talked about that ending a few years back, but then they ended up reinstating it.
Set based on
Okay, okay.
FTS too.
That's it?
Yes, yeah, and then the last page, on page 48, that shows how much we spent and also projected to process on pensions. There's a column for STRS and a column for PERS. For 24-25, we spent a total of 26, almost 27 million towards pension cost. And then it breaks down for future 6 years, how much it is gonna cost the district.
Each year,
Yes.
it comes from the unrestricted budget.
Yes.
Is that our contribution paid to educators and schools?
Yeah.
I see.
Maybe, take this first. No, that's just wonderful,
And
sorry.
are these figures bundled into the benefits?
Yes.
So when you read benefits, it's
Yes.
not just health insurance, but it's PERS and STIRS.
Correct.
It's retirement.
Wait, so I'm clear on that. Because I thought this would be just the payout we get as retirees. And then they're separate, because we did a whole meeting just on
With
the
parts.
health of parts, right?
Yes.
Right? So that, this is just the monthly payout that employees are getting?
No,
No.
no,
No,
it's
that's the employer contribution.
That's
it's
much
employer
larger.
contribution.
Okay, correct,
Yeah.
yeah, so yes, that's
So this is PCC's contribution towards the pool.
just that,
To your
not,
pension.
because earlier I heard you say the makes it. The
What you're
insurance
getting-
is separate,
Yeah, what
that's
you're,
that other.
yeah, what you're getting in terms of pension is all of these dollars that were invested over
Correct.
30 years
So the state
into
puts their
your
part in, or
account.
STRS puts their part in.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what, okay, that's.
And then you
So-
check.
So what we
That's the
have
bottom line.
fully funded is OPEB is health insurance coverage for retirees.
That's
Yes.
65.
That's, oh, retirees
That's just-
until they get Medicaid.
That's correct. Yeah, so we fully funded that line.
Okay. And is this just, so, I mean, it increases every year on the actuarial tables, does it ever start to swoop down the STRS and PERS? Or is it forever?
Oh,
So this is the, for the pension.
Yeah.
So pension, the state does their own actuarial study, and
Yeah.
that just depending on the factor that the state has. So we don't have any control over it.
But
And
these
you
are
should see it like 40
projections, right?
pages, you'll get,
These are future
every
projections.
institution
We might
gets
not be
their
actuals.
detail.
Correct.
Because we might have.
They have whole
attrition.
conferences on trying to
Yes.
read.
I think we'll have to-
Is there any benefit
Right.
to
So those
be
numbers
paying
will
like a
change.
mortgage if
Because it keeps getting
add in a little more this year if you have an extra, I mean, not this year,
Right.
but a year? Does that reduce future payments?
This is actually PERS and STIRS problem,
Yeah,
not necessarily, like, they tell us what we need to put in.
Okay.
Contribute.
yeah, I don't think,
And there's no benefit to being, you
no.
know, thinking forward, no.
I mean, there are some economists that think that we don't have enough there.
Teachers.
Or faculty, that's right.
Me.
They can write to
Right.
us.
You're
Trustee
sitting
Rocks.
there,
You're sitting next to
someone that
STIRS.
gets a check every month because of that. And it's not a bad thing, because I earned it. And our faculty earn every dollar that I get every month. Thank you. I just want to say that for the record, because it sounds like, oh, that's all I'm gonna say about that. 'Cause it's earned, it's not given.
So we'll need a motion to recommend this report to the full board for
Okay.
acceptance.
Well, because you're gonna submit.
Yes.
I'll do that, but I just wanna ask, but, because within STIRS, we do get a 2% each year or 1% increase. Would that speak to the reason also why we have to obviously contribute more, because we're part of that increase?
And those
You know what I'm
those
saying?
factors are managed at the state level,
Okay,
yeah.
But that's probably one of the many factors. One of the other factors happening is as there's less employees actually contributing into, who are current employees,
ooh,
that's why it makes this rate a little bit higher, because you have a smaller base.
What percentage of
okay.
the pension is paid by the employees is deducted? Like, is it a 75-25, 50-50
Is 7%?
So I think for STIRS, the employee doesn't contribute
at all?
So the college contributes 19% off their pay rate. And then the PERS is about
Wait,
27%.
who's contributes, is it taxpayers contributing the other 81%?
It's the PERS.
The PERS takes
Or
our.
19% of your salary, right?
Yeah, 90% of your salary is our required contribution rate.
So if you make $100,000 a year, the college
For PERS only.
puts
Yeah.
19,000 into the pot at the state level.
So I'm thinking like Social Security, the employee pays a portion, but that's not the case.
PERS
It is for
employees.
PERS.
Yeah,
Yeah.
PERS employees have to contribute, the traditional, so they have the two pots, the traditional, employee, which are enrolled before.
For the classics.
2015 or something,
That's me.
PERS
Yeah.
Classic.
so I think that, I believe that's
PERS
7% contribution rate.
Vintage.
11?
7%.
Yeah.
That's percentage.
And then after that, they're paying
After that, they're called the pepper numbers.
the peppers, and they pay
Yeah.
more,
It's called pay 8%.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it can go up.
Yes, so, the traditional Dr. Gomez is protected, so it's the same rate.
Vintage.
Because he's vintage.
Classic.
His grandmother.
Classic. It's classic.
Yeah,
But-
pepper increases as,
You're happy for.
Weathered and distressed in
I'd rather be.
classical and vintage way.
Put you under there.
But Tammy, for your understanding, because that's how I understood it, when I was here, because I only got my money, and it was always, there was a part that said, this is how much the college is contributing towards STIRS. It wasn't coming out of my salary, right?
No, it's not.
And then,
Because you were stirred.
You're
it's
STIRS.
out of STIRS, but I just want to be clear, that's not how it works.
But I'm PERS.
And the, right.
Everybody
The
else.
reason why I'm saying is that so our faculty know, that's a pretty awesome.
It's a great
deal.
benefit.
Yes.
I'm sure the faculty.
Reminding doesn't hurt.
They see it on their check.
All right.
Okay,
Yes,
may I
that's it.
hear a
Yes.
motion to approve recommending to, how do you want the motion worded?
If you can recommend approval of the 311 report to the full board.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank
Did you get that, Audrey?
Thank you for answering all those questions.
You're welcome. So the second document, I'm sorry, I took your job. Trustee Gabriel.
Oh, okay,
Go on to the
now
agenda.
we're on the fiscal year 25-26 adopted budget. Tracy.
Yay. Okay. So this will be the second, document on your desk. So this document is attached with the packet. And we also have a presentation on the adopted budget. So if you would go to the third page, so if we roll the tape back a couple of months, back in June when we brought forward the tentative budget to the board, we had a small deficit that we were trying to close, almost $600,000. So, and we are happy to report that we have closed that gap and we will be presenting a balanced budget.
And how did that happen?
We're going to walk you through that. There we are. Yes.
Okay.
So this is our little roadmap of how we close the budget. So what happened
Nice.
between June and September. So really based on three big factors. And so the biggest factor is, the three big factors, actually they're all equally big. So the first factor is really the state in the active budget chose to fully protect education. So they decided to withdraw from the educational rainy day bucket and made us whole. So our K-12, K-14 really didn't have to face any cuts.
Did Cal State?
Yeah. Not as much though, as was originally, expected or anticipated, yes.
And also is with collaboration with a lot of different divisions in our campuses. And Julie and I had so many meetings working with all constituency groups on this campus, and trying to really identify what are the meat and bones that in this institution, what we should fully support, and then what are things that we can tighten our belts a little bit on. That's how we close the budget. Yes. And the next few slides, I'm just really talking about big picture of how the state is operating now. What are the assumptions that went into building the adopted budget? So really the assumption, the situation over at the state level hasn't really changed very much since the tentative budget. We're still facing market volatility based on the different factors on the national level, including tariffs, including federal cuts on federal programs, closure of governmental agencies, and all of that trickle down and increase in a level of uncertainty at the state level. So the state itself is still facing a $12 billion shortfall, but fortunately that the legislators have chose to not have that affect education. So they put us in our little sanctuary and protected us, made us whole. Alright, and the next slide. So the 2025 budget act, yes.
So the state chose to make you whole, why, what's up with the bill?
Well, because we still have to make sure that our budget is not growing the rate that it used to anymore. And also there may be deferral that they are looking at, so we will go over it a little bit. Yeah. So how does the 25-26 budget affect our student-centered funding formula? What it does is that it creates scenarios for both years. The years actually we just closed, 24-25, and for 25-26. So this is a situation we started seeing at the state level a couple years back, where they are operating in multi-year funding when we're doing the budget for the future year. And a lot has to do with their own uncertainties. Part of it that affected them this year is the Eden fire and also delaying the tax receipts. So all of that kind of have a lot of moving parts on how they are projected. So what it did for the 24-25 fiscal year is that they repaid what was going to be deferred for that year, and that the deferment was going to be $243.7 million. So for PCC's share, that was going to be about $6.5 million. So deferral means that it doesn't mean a cut, so we're not being cut by funding, but it just means that it's an IOU, they're going to pay us later. But the budget had fully funded that by withdrawing from the Education Protection Act bucket to allowing payment right away to make us whole. And also eliminated the deficit factor, what we don't like. So the deficit factor was a P1 7.11%, and that equates to about 13.7 million left. That's a significant shortfall. So by making us whole, that scenario is also
We've dodged a lot of bullets.
all good news for us. And for the future year, 25-26, and, so the state is providing a 0.57 enrollment growth, and, this is, we're not yet eligible yet, we're still working on trying to get there someday. And, also they're providing a 2.3% COLA, and that was shared with the board back in tentative budget. So we are still eligible for that, so which equates to about $4 million for BCC. And this is the deferral where we're still tightening our belt. Yes.
Can I ask, in the approval that we gave on the memos of understanding for future salaries, does our agreement come in at or below $4 million when you add all the salaries increases that we approved?
I believe so. I mean, I have to go double check my numbers. I believe so.
Did we know this $4 million total COLA when we agreed?
We knew the 2.3 we were getting, correct?
I
Or the
recall-
2.3%.
I recall the
Yeah.
2.3.
Yes.
Yes.
Percentage that we knew we were gonna get.
And
But the problem is it isn't for everybody. So 4 million is a better number. That's really what we have.
Yeah, that's what we received in dollars.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But we knew we were getting the increase of the 2.0, or 2.3%.
But I think Christine still has a question mark over her head.
No?
Okay.
And so, when we talk about deferrals, that's when we still have to tighten our belt a little bit because it could potentially affect our cash flow. So we're still entitled to the funding, but it just comes slower. So they're thinking, the state is talking to us about the deferral will likely come towards the last proportionate payment, which usually comes around June. So next June, our payment will likely be deferred until sometime well into the 26, 27 fiscal year. So, yeah,
So we need to make sure we have enough cash in the bank to pay our bills, which we should.
yeah, which we should. So that's why we have, PCC has a very healthy reserve.
Reserve.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is why that, we are able to weather these ups and downs in the state budget. So how much is the reserve? We're about 23.
But that's why you're doing some outfinding too.
Right, so we want to make sure that we're future proofing.
Right.
Yes.
And the next slide.
Before we leave that, I just wondered, the last sentence, projected to deplete this reserve fund. We're talking about the rainy day fund of the state.
Yes.
State level, yes.
Right, because that's a concern, but that's what it's saying. Okay.
So the next few pages talk about the big initiative that the state is funding for our system. So the first one is technology initiative. So the state is providing some one-time funding for common cloud data platform, e-transcript, and also they're providing some one-time and ongoing funding for learning for a career passport, prior learning for career passport. So this is the opportunity for adults that can test into things that they are already good at. So for example, a welder that already knows how to weld, they can take a test to prove that they're proficient in welding, so they don't have to take a class. And also the Rising Scholar Network is receiving an ongoing funding of $10 million.
That's core. We call it core on our campus.
Right.
It's not 10 million for us, it's
No,
10
it's
million
statewide,
across
this is
the
all,
state.
yeah, this is all the state perspective.
It's actually not that much.
And divided by 116.
Yeah.
Well, and some small, some
Right.
bigger, some don't have,
Right.
some don't have
Yeah.
programs.
And that's a good thing, because I know that the last meeting we had, there was a projection for a reduction that was gonna affect core.
Yes.
They were gonna.
I was there last night
Yeah.
I did attend last night the orientation, just because I hadn't brought me back, we were glad to be in, which was nice, and then they had a great dinner, so thank you, but, I was asking Raul, what's the budget, and he says it's where it's at, so, we're good,
We're good. For a year.
for a year.
Why are they, no, this is ongoing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do we get the same amount every year?
Oh,
Well,
that,
Yeah,
the community colleges are
Yeah.
getting 10 million.
yeah,
How it gets allocated is up to
Exactly.
them,
yes,
right?
Chancellor's
Chancellor's office.
Chancellor's office.
yes.
Well, we're okay.
Yeah,
We're
we-
fine
we're
here
good.
for
I
our
mean,
purpose.
Yeah, interested in
That's
the
the big-
e-transcript, does that mean, up to now, you, like, request online and then they mail you a transcript? There's no electronic transcript, is that what this is?
So it's not my understanding, is like, right now each campus does their own. So some may be paper, some may be electronic, so they're trying to produce a
Standardize.
sort of standardized method.
Okay,
That's good.
makes sense.
That really helps students, especially if they've gone to 3 different colleges and the counselor has to read all those. So it's
Yeah.
electronically transmitted, so we have yay to that. Okay.
Yeah, and the next slide is some funding for, a one-time funding for some, for wraparound services to help students complete. And so these are, so 60 million to support student block grant, 20 million for financial assistance, and 15 million for Dreamers, 5.1 million for financial aid outreach. Okay, so these are all numbers that are allocated at the state level.
Right, so do we know how much, or can we guess how much will come to PCC?
Right now, we don't know their funding formula yet. Sometimes they use a head count, because not every school has offered the same type of services or program. And sometimes they distribute based on FTS. Yeah, sometimes they distribute based on head count, so we haven't received any information how these funding will be distributed.
If before the board meeting comes, we do get that information, I don't know, it would just nice to see how much of these dollars would come to us.
Okay, I'll keep an eye out.
Because it used to be a rule of thumb, we would get 2% of whatever the chancellor's office got. But-
Yeah, sometimes it takes a while. We've actually had conversations with the chancellor's office before on, how come there's all this delay? Because we see the bill getting approved, we see the money is coming, but when is it coming?
Yeah.
So they said that, it's really they have to come up with an equitable formula to distribute it to everyone, and that's what it takes.
Good chance we won't have this by next Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not just a way.
Keep an eye out.
Seems like with 2 hours of thought. so.
And the next page, last big item on this. So this really, this page really touches us a lot. And by large part due to Dr. Gomez's advocacy. So on the lower right-hand corner, the 5 million one-time to assist workforce recovery in regions impacted by housing and heat fire. Look at housing, heat and fire.
Right.
Bravo.
Again, then, that 5 million is, I guess I understand. 5 million one time to assist with the person. That all that 5 million comes just to us?
No.
That's not, so the question is how much ultimately, and what do we get? If you,
How much have we asked for, or how much are we gonna get? I mean,
what,
it's,
yeah, either
it's,
or.
it's
How much is-
it's complicated right now. We have been told an amount, but then there's another piece of it that is we've been asked to make proposals for. We've asked for all of it.
Yeah.
Rolling it up, need to community colleges or to also to.
That is LA County.
Oh, because there's only
There's 19.
so many community colleges, 19.
19
There's
and
19 in LA County.
Oh, so they all want their
They all want their piece,
programs.
but we've asked for all of it.
Is that something you do?
We asked for all of it.
We've asked for all of it.
Oh,
We
okay,
ask for all
thank
of
you.
it, of course, yeah.
Of course.
It looks kind of,
Well, of course.
they've actually
Of course.
proposed allocating it to other people, and then we stick out like a sore thumb. But it's okay, because
We're the ones most
Thank you.
impacted.
I mean, we have to,
By
if you don't ask, you're not gonna get it, right? So,
Correct.
as far as I'm concerned, I mean, there is no community that's been impacted more than ours,
Yes.
so we should get, and we've been told we're gonna get a very healthy part of it. But this money, was put into the budget by the governor's office almost exclusively because of what we were doing here, not,
Yes.
So everybody else is kind of,
They piggyback.
they
Me
piggybacked
too.
on us.
Sure, of course.
Yeah.
And then when will that final decision come down? Maybe give me an idea, who makes that final decision?
They have there's a couple of meetings, they're creating a lot of conversation around it,
Process.
so,
Is there anything
a
that
lot
we
of process.
Why can I ask them? Hey, we can do that. How can we continue advocating? Okay, thank you.
I think we're pretty good.
Okay.
I'll share there's an op-ed today that I was gonna send to you guys, that's an EdSource, that is co-authored by the Chancellor and I. And you will see some of the things that she is now on the record supporting.
Okay.
Fantastic.
That's great.
Did you see it?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, it came out this morning.
Oh, good.
It took 4 months, but it's okay.
I have a question. Final round of $10 million one-time funds for LGBTQ plus student sports centers, so does that mean after this year, there's no more specialized funding for our Pride Center?
That's what, as the state funding is, was right now, yeah.
Okay, so then we have to find funding somewhere else for the Pride Center?
Or it becomes institutionalized. That's your budget.
And then we we'll look at our services holistically and make some decisions.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that they wouldn't.
And this could be just for one time,
It'd just be for this, but they could.
yeah, they
Find
could opt to,
another
yeah,
place to pull the funds from. Okay. Good.
just because this one ended,
Or they can come in a different format and change the name.
yeah.
Starting from the next page are really number heavy. So this, page 11 is a snapshot of how our unrestricted general fund performed in the year that we just closed, 24-25. So we see total revenue of $233.8, almost .9 million, and then we spend $232 million, and with a healthy surplus, a little bit of surplus. And as this bulk of our expenses are still and will always be on our people, so that's our biggest
Right.
investment.
Does that surplus go into your
Beginning fund balance for next year.
it goes into your
It
22?
goes over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to the reserve.
So it could grow each
23%.
year.
Mhm.
Engagement, so,
And then the next page, page 12.
Oh,
Yes.
I have a question on non-resident tuition. That number looks very good. I'm very pleased. I was so worried. Do you know what percentage are domestic non-residents versus international non-residents?
I don't have
Is
that
there a
data.
difference?
Are you talking about this past year that passed?
No. This is our projected. Oh,
This
This is
is
for last year. This is the unaudited.
Oh.
Yeah.
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 This is how we ended last year, but it tells you how we ended, and that money, we, in the black, we
But
can begin,
projecting
yeah.
for this year, that number
Yeah.
could be different. I see.
And our enrollment right now is pretty much stable. Depends on the day. One day it's a little up, one day's a little down, one day's a little up, one day's a little down. So I think we're gonna be landing right at where we were at this time last year, which is I think good because we've been very aggressive with the bots. So the bots are no longer as much of a problem as they were last year. But we've had the fires, immigration,
Sure.
enforcement, and the international visa slowdown and, all those things. So to be where we are, I think is pretty good,
Yeah.
I agree.
So,
Mhm.
and we're also, because we know that, we're also gonna be offering, late start classes.
Yep. Is that number you're gonna give on?
What does that mean?
That means that they're like, they're short-term classes, right? They start a little later, they might end a little earlier.
So
They're,
compressing a semester into fewer.
so when I was, a student in undergrad, I would take a lot of those, because they were kind of differently structured.
Mhm.
So even when I was at Cal Poly Pomona, I would take classes at Mount Sac that were short-term. I took Saturday short-term classes, for example, just to accelerate.
So, yeah, so I teach right now, of course, that's gonna start in October. It's the exact same course that I'm teaching for the whole semester, it just gets compressed and there's more hours in the day. So as opposed to 1 hour, it's 2 hours now for 8 weeks. And it's a good practice because it gives students the opportunity to take a class, you know, but,
Yeah, so maybe it opened up the section that students would need but weren't able to get in the traditional
Right.
semester. And this is another opportunity for them to take the classes they need in a short amount of time.
and Jose, what is our number right now? Or number, are you gonna present that next week? or
Our actual number,
Approximately.
we'll have a better number next week.
Okay,
But like I said, it's been going up and down, up and down, up and down. I don't know what it is today. But it's probably,
It's pretty stable.
it's pretty,
So she
I
has
think I saw that we were like less than 100 below last year. But yet, you know,
so 20,
So our
23?
head count wise, we're at 25,415. And last year, this time, we were at 25,610.
Okay.
and the FTE we create later on, right? Because
Yeah.
that's mostly dependent on how many classes people take. This is how many bodies. So we have
Actual
100.
heads.
We're like 100 bodies short.
Not bad. So you gotta go do some
That's good.
body snatching. I don't know.
Well, yeah, especially when.
It's
we get-
Halloween. In Halloween, we're gonna
we
go
get
get
body
some.
snatchers. Those are not bots. And that's what's helpful with those 8-week classes,
Right.
Right.
because it'll increase that number, but
Mhm.
say you're teaching a psych class
Yeah.
or an English class. And when you go to make that, just on this, when you're going to make the decisions about, and this is probably a question for Laura, right? What classes are most efficient that will fill for those next 8 weeks? That's happening.
Well, yeah, because you can tell which classes have the waiting list, which
Right,
classes are in higher demand, and those are the ones that you would offer in the
Right.
short term.
So that increases. Okay, thanks.
But because the bots weren't in the classes at the beginning of the year, there were classes that had space, so it was actually we've been a lot more accurate in, you know, which classes are, you know, have space and which ones don't, because some look like they were closed, but some of those people weren't really people.
You know how you eliminate bots? All classes are taught in person.
You take attendance too.
That's why I teach in person. I have to worry about those bots.
Right.
Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Alright, for page 12, so this is how each of our funds performed for the 24-25 fiscal year, the year that we just ended. So all of our funds ended in the black, which we'd like to see. And it encompasses all of our funds. So general fund is the one that we just saw. And unrestricted general fund are all of our grants. And the Fund 33 is the Child Development Center, so they're our child care center. And Fund 40, 41, 42, and 43 are our construction funds. So our Measure PCC is in Fund 42. And the funds that start with 60, 61, 62, all the way to 69 are our self-insurance funds. So it covers anywhere from workers' comp to property liability, dental, OPEB, everything that for our insurance. Fund 74 is our student financial aid. This one is mostly a wash. Whatever we receive from the federal government, we distribute to our students. And fund started with the 70 are what we call a trusted agency funds. So these are our like clubs, student clubs, teachers clubs, and things of that nature. Also our associated student body is in here as well. And Fund 76, there are two Fund 76, but those represent what the PARS representative talked about earlier this year. It has to do with our OPEB irrevocable trust and also our pension irrevocable trust. So both trusts performed very well this year. The OPEB trust earned an investment return of $3.8 million, and trust, earns over $700,000 in investment returns. And next page, wait, what did you say?
At the bottom, 76.
Okay. Market give up.
Yes.
Yes, and page, so slide 13, and so this is actually an extension of slide 12. So on slide 12, for Fund 41, you'll see a 6.9 million transfers in to this fund, and on page 13, we wanted to just introduce what we did with the money. So these are really investment that we are commitments that our institution is towards our future, both in capital equipment and also for decarbonization. So first off, we are advancing our district environmental commitments by purchasing 2 fully electric student transit vans. These were they were
On our
for the
agenda.
board, yes,
Yeah.
that the board had approved. So we have fully received those 2 vans, so now our entire transportation fleet is electrified.
Yeah.
And we also purchased 1 fully electric CTE van from the CTE program. And we're in the process of replacing our gas-powered police vehicles. So we phase those in. And also we electrify.
We want to make sure we do it first, like South Pass. We'll be the first community college. See, we always follow South Pass. First to ask.
Teslas.
Yeah, but we're not doing Tesla. Maybe, we'll see. It depends on, yeah.
Yeah.
Golf carts. These golf carts.
Yeah, we also
have some
invest.
of those. Our cadets. Yes.
Oh, yeah, those are electric.
Those are electric, yeah.
Yeah, plug-ins. We also invested a lot into modernizing our ERP system, which is called Banner, Evolution Banner. So we are moving from Amazon hosted clouds to what is called SaaS cloud based, and so it's a software as a service. And we also invested heavily into providing state-of-the-art laboratory equipment for our staff.
I want to just ask, and I probably know the question already. So those 2 fully electric vans are the ones that transport students from the,
Yeah, from the metro bus station to here into the
To the
foothills.
foothills.
but we still have the vans, for example, that go on trips, right? Are those still being
Field
used?
trips.
Like, again, field trips,
Some of those are rentals.
right?
Yeah.
The rentals, and then sometimes I know there's charter buses that are used.
Right.
But don't we still own vans that are driven, 15-passenger vans that are driven the athletes to a meeting in Orange County?
I
Don't we
don't
still have them?
I'll bet we lease them, don't we? Yeah,
That's why I'm
because
asking.
James is
Yeah,
right,
that's
we
why I'm
can
asking.
take athletes
Right.
around.
We still have those vans in there.
Some of them we should do, we have not disposed them yet. But
That's
you know, they,
salvation, yeah.
we haven't salvaged them yet.
But-
That's better.
But they're still being used, obviously, right?
We have to check where our transportation department is at.
Yeah,
I think they're doing a lot, they're renting,
Yeah.
they're renting, like
Really?
with a football team, you would never be able to do that. You need so we have the
No,
buses.
I guess because I know that we used to have the 15-passenger vans that we would use. Let's say we want to take 15 students down to go to the Cheech Museum in Orange County, Riverside County.
Yeah, but our focus is really to decarbonize
It is.
as much as possible for our normal commutes. Yeah, which is, hitting the 3 points of Foothill campus,
Okay.
Colorado campus.
All right.
Metro
I guess when
Thank you.
when we're leasing new vans.
It's all gonna be electric.
Okay.
Everything's gonna be electric, eventually.
Eventually, that's it. Okay, thank you.
Then slide 14 is a snapshot of our adopted budget for the unrestricted general fund. So as you can see, we are, answer trustee Silver's question.
Right.
So we are at a balanced budget, so what we start off is what we're gonna end with, or this is our projections. So we are projecting that we will receive about 228 million in revenue, and then the same will be appropriated to spend. And again, most of our resources are going to be invested in salaries and benefits.
That's worrisome, because if something goes wrong, then we're in a deficit.
But we have reserves, this does not include the reserves that we have for this.
Right.
This is the beginning of the year, and we're
Yeah,
Yeah, and we're
Yeah.
also monitoring too.
Yes.
I mean, we're monitoring, these are all just when we look into the crystal ball.
Mhm.
And this is with the best information we have now,
Mhm.
we're projecting it to be. But we're monitoring it along the way, and as we bring the 311 quarterly report to you, then we'll report back on how we're actually doing quarter by quarter.
Is there any, additional, funding of the reserve in this budget?
this does not include any reserve in there,
Yeah,
no.
we didn't dip into our.
It's all in current
No,
revenues.
but are we contributing to the reserve?
Not at, based on this plan.
I did say that when we did have a surplus, that 700,000, that goes into the reserve.
Correct, yeah. So the surplus that we ended last year went into our reserve.
So you, I mean, this can go in two different directions, right?
Yeah.
It can go up or down, right?
Yes.
So our revenue can go up too, you don't, I
Mhm.
mean, it's not,
That's, well,
we're not
This
expecting.
is just a
it's not,
projection.
it's just a projection.
It's a roadmap.
Yeah.
Sure.
And it's conservative.
It is.
It is.
It is.
Okay, yeah. We're always projecting.
And we're almost on the conservative
Right,
side.
and it's not as, it's an art.
It is. It is.
That's why.
That's one way to put it. It's an art.
Right. And then, slide 15 is our projection, when we look into the crystal ball, how each of our funds will perform. And, so a couple of the things that you will see is that, we always anticipate that we will fully, all of the projects that we anticipated in our construction will fully matriculate. So, but, as we go along the year, we will adjust on how the pace of the project really
Yeah.
are to be more reflective. Okay.
Very good.
That's
That's
it.
very
Wait,
good.
that's what it is? Oh, that is the.
That is it.
It says questions.
Very good.
Oh.
There's a slide for questions.
Yes,
Yeah,
questions?
so that's already.
Oh, and then so we would need another motion from you to, recommend adoption of the adopted budget by the full board.
Oh,
Okay,
Before
Audrey, did
I
you?
go, I will move, but I want to say one thing, because there's a page for questions. It's not a question. I just want to say thank you very much on behalf of the constituents and the students and myself, because I don't like having to understand these things. That's why I wanted to be on this committee. I'd rather have someone run my budget and then tell me I have money in my bank. So I want to thank you very much for your work, your hard work, and helping me understand. Really, it's very much appreciated. So thank you.
I looked at that. Did a very good presentation.
So I will move to adopt this. Is
Did
that
you
what-
get the
what is
verbiage,
motion?
Audrey?
No, I don't think so.
What
Can
is
you
the
start
verbiage?
over, please?
What do I need to do?
Recommend to the full board for adoption of the 25, for the 25-26 adopted budget.
I move to recommend to the full board to adopt the fiscal year 25-26 budget.
And I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
We might have run over this.
I just sent you guys the,
It's just.
Didn't we go over that?
Okay, is
I go
there
through these with the
a
auditor.
proposed future meeting? Jesse, should we,
Like when
is there a proposed future
Do
meeting?
we do this every other month or do we?
Can someone
As
meet
as needed?
needed.
As needed.
So when would you want us to meet, just so I can have it?
Because we'll have our first quarterly information not until November, because the quarter ends,
Yeah.
September.
Right.
It gives us time then to do announcements so for sure in November,
Mhm.
but, I'm not sure if we'll need one in between. If we do, we'll need to contact you.
Okay, so we'll do the same with the doodle poll
Yes.
and,
Yes, I'll
We
reach
can
out.
do a budget workshop.
but
you could do the.
possibly nothing until November.
Yes.
Actually,
Okay,
Get the company.
wonderful.
Okay.
Are there any,
I just want to say something on that. If we get, today is Wednesday, correct?
Yes,
Right.
September 3rd.
Again, because I'm back into my teaching stuff, not with the rest of the work.
I'll
Is that
reach
important?
out and make sure that it coordinates with your schedule.
I know we will.
Okay.
Do you
But
want to?
again, it just like, was Wednesdays like in general for us three? Was Tuesdays in general?
I don't have anything standing.
Because, yeah, because mine just happened, thank you, Audrey.
You're welcome.
Just so I'm just putting out there, Wednesdays are good, and I like to stick to that rhythm, because then it just makes me.
I'll make the
sure-
sacrifice for Wednesdays.
Well,
Because we
I
don't
don't
meet,
mind.
we don't meet often, but
Got it. It just helps me in my schedule. Great. Yes,
All
thank you,
right.
thank you.
Are there any proposed future agenda items?
I think it'd be kind of fun to have just a budget workshop between now and then. Just pick a topic, like game. Or you can pick a topic. Can we do that?
For you, for the November meeting.
Yeah, so, what?
Well, we
so-
have a, like, everybody's moving around. Everybody's, people are moving around, you might not stay on this committee.
No, even after our
So
reorganization.
this might be the last one, so I'm thinking, as a last hurrah, maybe we should just do like a 1-hour workshop on just one esoteric topic.
Is that, I like that idea.
You like that idea?
Sure.
Maybe we can work with you, give you some ideas, or talk to the brains.
Or we can even do it,
Interesting.
yeah, we can even do it offline when you're available. One-on-one session.
I like when we can put this in.
So yeah, I'd like just, not quick, like this is an hour.
Well, I actually have something that's still not solidified in my mind.
Okay.
And it relates to the bots.
Oh,
How
the bots.
how do the Pell Grants move through the system?
So let me,
Oh,
so,
should we close the meeting?
no, what I was gonna say is that, one of the things that, trustee Kwong is probably gonna be addressing that she doesn't know yet, is that there is new law regarding closed sessions in the Brown Act that deals with IT-related things connected to cyber crime. And the reason why the state has created that opportunity for boards to go into closed session to discuss those things is so that we don't tell the bad people what we're doing to stop the bots.
I see.
Because we
Yeah.
learned that
Makes sense.
we would do something that would work, and then we would announce what we were doing, and then we would,
They will learn it.
they would learn it, and then.
They're going on YouTube and watching.
So after,
ChatGPT is doing
so
that.
we now have this new tool, but it has to go through our accreditation policy committee to become a policy, but then would allow you all, and we actually have already discussed coming in and giving you a
Terrific.
budget or
Close it.
a closed session
Workshop.
update on the things that are taking place related to all of that.
Okay, I withdraw my idea.
But that's a different
Yeah.
topic, that's not necessarily budget related,
Right.
although
Right.
it, I mean, it could be. And by the way, you know, these things every year, it's like, you know, things keep changing,
Mhm.
they
Correct.
have to keep
Yeah.
changing.
But I still like your idea of meeting at least one more time on some topic.
Well, I guess if anybody has a concrete idea, because I actually don't, then would they email you and you would pass it along?
Yeah,
Let me suggest a topic that you already have in this
I mean, the games,
We should look at something.
Just not a tiny little thing.
Again.
I think
Yeah,
Anne is.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
just the name of that.
Because no one ever,
Just
you know when that was part of the,
Prop
Prop
13.
13,
Mhm.
era, but it has an
Yeah.
impact on
Bond
us,
dollars.
Yeah.
big impact on us.
Yeah.
'Cause it's
Less than an hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before we wrap, I have a quick question for Jose when it comes to like, just my understanding of HSI grants, all those federal grants. What's
That's a good.
happening as far as what are you hearing? Because I'm really trying not to pay attention to the news because, yeah. So, I really am.
Do you wanna,
Just,
Should we close it?
On the
Let's close.
That might be
Yeah,
a good
okay.
workshop.
Yeah,
The,
that's
the federal grants.
yeah.
How do
It
you
might be a
manage
great-
grants? How do
Or
you
how,
how do
what's
they come
happening
in?
with it.
Yeah, what's happening.
Yeah, that's a good one. You like that one?
Yeah.
We talked to our federal, do we have federal office?
Okay. Well, We
Why don't we
haven't
just how much
discussed that
time
yet.
is it
Yeah.
for, yeah,
Okay, great, so you wanna close the meeting and then I can,
Okay, do I,
where are we at?
Let's do a
workshop on grants.
okay, that's very good.
Okay.
Do I hear a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes, we adjourn.